Welcome back to RMS. Right, we have got Kia Stinger 3.3 turbo. This is the one, the video before last, we was checking out a faulty braking system. We've ordered in a servo which comes with a brake pressure switch. We're going to change it over, see what's going on, and if not, it looks like it might be the ABS pump. Let's explain what's going on. So the braking system on this car, once the vacuum goes below a certain threshold, it actually turns on a vacuum pump to supply extra vacuum to the brake servo instead of the engine supplying it, which I assume once it's under boost, it's not causing vacuum, which means it can't keep up with it. So yeah, for some reason, this car turns the vacuum pump on, but doesn't see that it's getting to its threshold of turning the vacuum pump off. So the way we've found out from the last series, we have the ABS pump over in the corner. It's got one wire coming into it, which goes right the way across over to the brake servo. And that one has a 12 volt supply as well from the fuse box over here. So it is literally in, out, back, but it's all tucked away. It's a bit of a pain to get to. What we found is, once we disconnected this switch, sometimes we had 0 volts and sometimes we had 1.6 volts. Coming back through this wire, so we're suspecting there could be a fault on the wire, or maybe the actual pump is giving out a funny voltage, or it could be that this switch is not just a switch. It could have 12 volts in and be a bias voltage, which could be a sort of 3 volt switch when it's off and a 9 volt switch when it's on, something like that. So it could be resetting itself and looking back for the signal. We're not 100% sure. But when we was connected up to this switch, it didn't seem to be doing what we wanted it to do. So what we're going to do is just show you. There's some pipes under here. This one here comes directly from the vacuum pump. Then everything else goes off over to the servo and the engine control and everything. I'm hopefully going to get that switch out of the new servo, or the second-hand servo what we bought. That was £50 for that servo. I could have spent another few hours stripping all that lot out, double checking and making sure, when it could just be the switch. I think the £50 investment, or, you know, risk, gamble, whatever you want to call it, is worth it. I'm the one that always goes on about, don't throw the parts cannon at it, you know, don't just keep fitting parts. But sometimes it's not worth the time when a part is available. If it would have been £200 or £300 part, we wouldn't have done it. But, you know, why would I charge the customer another couple of hours instead of just 50 quid. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and take the sensor out of there and put it straight into the pump on that. Once the pump rate gets to a certain pressure, over a certain threshold, it should turn the switch off. I'm going to wire directly from there to the switch, see on the live data whether that's going to change. If it doesn't, then it's looking like it's the ECU, which is tucked right down there. We've actually got one of them here as well. We did speak to the supplier, said, can you send this one down? If we need to return it, we'll return it, but we will pay for the postage, etc., and a handling fee. So it's not a problem. So we've got that part in. We're going to connect it up to there. If not, I've got to strip all that fuse box out and try and fit the ABS unit in there. I don't know if they're coded, programmed, part of the immobiliser system. I'm not sure. It's a Kia. Who knows what we're going to find. So let's get the sensor off the servo, connect it up to there, wire it up, see what the voltage does, and see what it does on the live data. Ta-da! Right, so this servo, so it's got the master cylinder on it as well. It's actually got a brake pressure sensor. That tells, we thought that was what was telling the ABS exactly how much pressure it's got in there. It doesn't. It tells the engine ECU what pressure it's got in there. Don't know why it does that, why it needs to. So we was testing that, worked it back through. It's actually this pressure switch down here. Like I say, it's a 12 volt switch. Fairly basic, but it could have, like I say, got a funny voltage or a control voltage. So it's not just an on and off, not sure. Oh, wrong size. That's how often I do mechanical, can't work out sizes anymore. So if we can just get this directly into the pipe and wired up straight to there, it's going to eliminate one more thing. So yeah, so that should just go straight onto the pipe and be able to see what's going on. Could use our own vacuum pump and Mitivac or something, but I don't know if that goes down to the right pressures. But this was reading from that pressure sensor. It doesn't matter whether we had the engine running or we blanked them vacuums off and just used a vacuum pump to lower the pressure in the servo. That sensor was reading exactly the same. So the pump could create, it was something like -8 gigasquiggles, whatever it was. Yeah, exactly the same from the engine as that. So we're assuming that's okay. Pretty sure this one wasn't working as it should, but we're not 100% sure. So at least, look at that. It come with a plug. So I can get a couple of wires onto that. Straight across to the plug, what is connected to the original one. And then we'll get it connected up to the scanner, see if there's any difference. Let's get it done. Okay, so we've managed to get this set up. I'll show you what we've done. So we've literally put the sensor directly into the pipe, 2 wires off. We've just checked here. So these 2 wires now are literally down through our test leads and then connected down into the actual plug down there, as if that sensor over there is plugged straight into there. I can't show you because the engine has to run to do it all and it gets really noisy. We've got a 12-volt switch, which we load tested last time. That's all okay, that stays 12 volts. When it's got no vacuum on it, it gives 12 volts back down this line, which goes directly to the engine, to the ABS ECU. And then as soon as it's got a vacuum, it drops to 12 volt. So really with it disconnected, it should come up with vacuum switch off, but it's constantly on. Now and again it flickers on and off, but like I said, we're getting this 1.6 volt down it. So we wanted to try that sensor first. It hasn't fixed it. So unfortunately, we're going to have to go and fit this ECU. And it is tucked right down there. We've had to take the engine ECU out to get to it when we was back probing onto it. But to fit it, I think that fuse box is going to have to be stripped apart, moved away to get down to it, because I can't see another way of doing it. So I'm going to strip that out, see what I need to do to it, and then I'll show you once it's done. But even if I can just get it plugged in, which I can't at the moment because there's not enough room underneath it to even get the plug up to plug it in, we could do some tests on it. So unfortunately, if I had to strip that apart, I can't do the test until it's all back together. Then I don't know whether it's programmed or not. So, okay, well, I'm going to strip that out. I'll show you once I know what's going on. Right, so I've managed to, actually, managed to strip the fuse box apart, get the bottom off it, to manage to get it across to get down to the unit down there. And that, where's my torch? Oh. And that's the unit down there with that plug on it. So here's the unit what we've got. I just need this part plugged in. So I'm going to try and remove that because I don't think I'll get the whole lump in there to be able to plug it in, just to be able to see whether that is actually working. I definitely won't be fitting a valve body on it. I can't do that. Stripping all that out, bleeding brakes and things like that, not a bit of me. But I'm going to strip this one down, see how it comes apart. Looks like it's got Allen key and stuff on there. Which one's that? That one. Yeah. So I'll chase this around the bench and strip it down. Then hopefully if we can just get the module off the back, that's going to tell us whether that switch is working correctly before we go any further on how to fit it and do that, and make sure that it is programmed okay. I don't know if the immobilizer's in there or not. Really don't know. And nobody says it online, but you can't trust everything until you do it. You're never sure. So let's pop that off. Oh man. In fact, So the screws are in there to undo it. I don't know how hard it's going to be to unscrew that one, because you've got to take the... Oh, man. Oh. It's going to be a nightmare. I'll be able to test it like this, but to get to... Man, it's going to be awful. So that's sat down like that. They put this over the holes, what stopped the screws for that, but they've also put one underneath, which we're going to struggle to get to be able to remove that to get to that. Well, I think we need to prove the fault and then decide what to do. Do we hand this back off to a mechanic to strip all that out? I don't know. Don't know. But we need an answer. We need an answer of what's going on. So, obviously, that is a lot easier to fit than that, as long as it will allow it to start, because the brake pressure sensors are in there, which are these parts here, and they've got little springs on them, which then connect to the brass parts in them holes. Tells you what the pressure does. Right, that's cool. I'm going to connect this up to that. Then even if we can get that sensor working, because that sensor is 12 volt now, we can mimic it just by shorting it out backwards and forwards, and that will tell us whether that's working or not. But I've got to get this in there, get to a point where it doesn't short out, because this one of these terminals can sometimes be a positive live for the pump motor, and then the module earths the pump to make it turn. So we have to insulate that to hold it down there, then sort of get the fuse box back in there so we can semi-connect it back up, connect the ECU back up. What can go wrong? Right, let's do that. Okay, managed to get it down there, and we got it all clipped back together. So it's literally tucked in down there beside the other one. Got all this back together, and the vehicle starts. So that's one thing. Now what we've got to do is check. We're going to talk to the ABS. Go out of it and come right back in. Make sure we can talk to it as we should do, and then see if that live data is changed when we flick that switch over and back. We got there. Yes. Right, it's on at the moment. So if we disconnect that wire, off. Right. That's the first time that it's stayed off for any length of time. So I think we're going to connect up the original switch, because we're still bypassed on that, put a vacuum back together. And then we have got ABS lights on because the pump's not connected. But if that stays off and we can pump the vacuum out of the servo and then put it back up and down and make sure that goes off, I think we're on a winner. So yeah, fingers crossed. Right, let's connect that main switch back up, and then we'll show you on the data what it's doing. Right, so that's connected up. So managed to connect the switch up down there. That's still connected down that end. I haven't put a pipe back on, exactly a blur. And then, yeah, the sensor's out of there, so we can put that pipe back on. So this is going to work exactly how it should do from the factory. So we'll get into it. So we'll remove all the vacuum out of the servo. Right, 2 seconds. And there we go, it's gone off because the engine's running. It's told the switch to go off, that we've got enough vacuum on it. Vacuum pump control is off. That's how it's meant to be. This one would come back on all the time. It'll come back on. Let's just knock it off. Ignition on. Then we'll just remove all the vacuum out of the system. There we go. Pump the brake a few times. Now all the vacuum's gone. And as soon as we start it up, it'll create vacuum in the servo, and that'll go off. See, this vacuum control is off. So that looks like it's fixed, but the last time we had it, when we was testing it, we had a funny voltage coming down. It's 1.6 volt. That was the one what was concerning us, whether it was a bias type switch or a output. So I'm going to leave this running for sort of 10 minutes, make sure that vacuum pump don't come on, because it could come on after a little bit of time. So I'm going to leave it running, and then I'll let you know what's going on in the end. And there we go, it is sweet, it's still running there. It's been running about 10 minutes now. Vacuum pump hasn't come on, it's coming on all the time before, and we've still got vacuum switch off, so it is down to the ABS control module. Right, let's just turn it off. I'll give you the final thoughts. So there we go. Yeah, obviously go and check out the first video if you haven't seen it, but you sort of know what's going on now anyway. Yeah, give us a run around this one. It weren't a very nice job. One, we had to work out how that system worked. I wasn't sure what the vacuum pump done, how all that sort of worked, what it done, how that valve and everything worked. So we had to work all that system out, find out what done what. We had to go for the pressure sensor. We thought that was it. There was no real information on any diagnostic stuff that we had. We did agree with the customer, said it's not one we've looked at. Dealers looked at it, another specialist has looked at it. We said we'd happily have a look, but we're going to have to learn it as we go. So we've learned, but we're probably never going to see one of these again. Thought it could be wiring, thought it could be a switch. Again, that switch, it was worth it for half an hour of our labour. It was worth having it there just to see exactly how it worked, what was going on. Again, taught us what we could do, that we could just short it out, and so it was got 12 volt in, 12 volt out switch. So once we knew that, then we was happy to go ahead. So we managed to get that fuse box stripped down to a point where we've got a bit of access in there, but now it's going to be a pain. We've got to try and get to that bottom bolt to strip out the cradle to be able to get to the main bolts to unbolt the ECU off. The problem is, yeah, maybe if you took all the pipes out of it and undone the main bolts, it would come up out of the way. But then you've got to bleed all the brakes out, take somewhere to get all the brakes bled. We are not set up for that. But then the other place won't be able to, might not be able to strip it down the way we've stripped it down, so I can't do half a job. I've got to carry on with it. There is a panel. Just this panel here. Maybe we got that out. This bar's in the way, but so the aircon pipes underneath it. So it's not as if that's going to give us any access, but taking that panel out might give us a bit of access to get to that lower bolt. If they wouldn't have put that in it, I think just under the main mount and pulling it forward, we could have done it. So I don't know, but I'm not going to bore you with that. We'll show you all the electrical stuff. We don't show you all the boring, bulky stuff. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe. If you've got to this end of the video and you haven't subscribed yet, subscription doesn't mean that you have to pay anything. It just means that you like this type of content. A friend of mine came around the other day. He said, I haven't subscribed to you. I'm not paying nothing. There's no charge. It is just literally a way of saying that you like our channel, that you'd like to see more. Costs you nothing. Just press a button down there, hit subscribe. So if you've got anything to add, stick it in the comments below, and maybe stick a little like in it. Again, tells YouTube that you like this video, and they'll give us a bit more recognition. Thanks so much for watching. See you on the next one.